Hey YouTubers, how are you? This is your girl, Coach Pamela D, joining in right now in this moment. I want to share something with you all. I know it's been a minute since I put a video out there with the word of the week, but I have one for you today. So I want to share that. But before I present the question for the discussion, I want to let you guys know how many of you all have felt like crashing out. How many of you all felt like just popping off on everybody that is like pulling on you in one way or the other? Nobody has a solution. Everybody wants you to think for them, and you need them to think for themselves. You need them to grow up. You need them to be more responsible. You need them to be more intentional. And I can go on and on, right? Okay, well, if I got a witness out there, thank you for being transparent, because that was me. Oftentimes, I find myself in a jam. I call it a jam because people often call me and want me to coach them out of situations. It can be family, friends, co-workers, whatever, you know. And I'll be sitting there like, I know you lying. I don't want to think for you. I don't want to help coach you in the moment because I have the weight of the world on my shoulder right now. And I had an experience yesterday and I just thought I was going to tear up some stuff, right? Didn't want to tear up my house because you got to replace that stuff, right? But the weight of everything was on my shoulder and I had a meltdown. No matter the encouraging words that my mom was giving me in the moment, it didn't work because there was no real solution to it. And then it just seemed like it just kept piling up where I was like, look here. Thank God I was home by myself, so I was able to yell it out, you know, as I was changing my house around. That's what I do when I'm in distress. Changing bedrooms and all this stuff, you know, putting away clothes, throwing away clothes, organizing. I'm just doing it all. Put on some jazz music and then just like, okay, let me get in the moment. It ended up helping me out, y'all. And I said I was going to go on social media and post, like telling everybody, when people pull on you, when people do this and that, you tell them no, and you just snap out so they can get themselves together. Thank God I didn't do that, because I would have been reacting, and that would have been a good thing, right? Everything is not meant for social media anyway. So at the end of it, at the end of this episode that I was having, I was calm, cool, collective, and I went and I rest and I went to sleep. Well, anyway, today, right now, I want to ask the question and dive into a good discussion, okay? So here it is. The question is, how can you keep your composure when the world is crumbling around you? Now listen, I'm going to wait for you to think about that because I had to think about it. So the word of the week is composure. Keep your composure, you all. What it means is to stay calm. It means to stay in control. It means to balance your emotions, right? That is not something we born to do. It's something that we practice, okay? Especially during difficult situations, criticism, especially through unexpected situations that tends to get us riled up, you know. So we have to just take a step back and keep our composure, check our emotions, balance it out, and then respond. So I have about 5 points that I want to share with you all that was coming at me when I was in my moment on yesterday. Okay, I was in my moment, so God, it was just me and God up in the house. I'm telling you, you sit quiet long enough, you're gonna hear him talk. He was just running into me, and I'm like, you know, and I was like, just like kept thinking about situations. I got a husband who retired for being a principal after serving 28 years with the Milwaukee Public School System. I have grown kids who always have financial dilemmas. And then, you know, I have projects. I have to hold down the household in the meantime. And just all of that. Looking at a budget. Why my budget not looking right? All of that was pressing on my shoulders. And I just really couldn't bear it, right? But the Lord said, cast all thy cares upon you, because why? He cares for us. So let's get into the discussion, okay? So there was number one, how to apply composure to my daily life, at my job, in my personal life, in my business, among friends and family, and you name it, constituents. How do I do that? First of all, God said, pause before you respond. Because when I tell you I was ready to let them text messages ring on yesterday, I don't think they would have been holy, okay? Now, I'm trying to be right. But I had to pause before I responded, right? When you have to exercise this, it's because sometimes conflict may arise. Like I said, you could get some criticism that's just be like, hold on a minute. Mind the business that pays you, because this ain't it. Whatever your words may be, we have to learn sometime to take that moment and step back before we speak and react. And I am so glad that I was in my house by myself and I went through this process. Listen, some of y'all got to count to 5, 10, 20, 15. I don't know. The count don't work for me. Some of you got to take a deep breath and say, hold on, Pam, get yourself together. That don't work for me. It may work for you, but it doesn't work for me. However, self-talk works for me. Let me tell you, I'm sick and tired. I can self-talk. And when I tell you time I finish self-talking, I kind of think like, is my response going to help the situation or is it going to hurt the situation, right? So sometimes I have to continue to check myself. I'll go walk and talk. That's just my go-to, right? So the second one is manage your emotions, which means composure does not mean that you need to ignore your emotions. That's not what that means. It just means managing them effectively. That's what that means. How to do that. So how to do that is first acknowledge when you are feeling some kind of way. Don't dismiss it. Also, identify the source that caused the emotions. I know my triggers. Baby, I do. They call kids. Okay? So I know my triggers. And so it's choosing a healthy way to express my frustration. I'm still working on that. God is working on me. Okay? I ain't mastered that part yet, because sometimes I just let it go. And then I have to think back. That's called impulsivity. Then I have to think later, like, I should never said all that. Because when you release words, you can't get them back. That's just like releasing feathers out of a pillow. You can't get all those feathers back and stuff it back in that pillow. Right. Okay. Number three, focus on what you can control. Right? Now, I try to focus on what I can control, which is me and my household. Right? But there are stressful situations that involves factors outside of my control. And that's where I just get like really, really upset and just angry, because I like to be in control. Anybody that knows me very well know I like to be in control. My husband always talk about me and talking about, you can't control everything. Even my pastor done preached and gave me some nuggets saying that I can't fix everything. I can't control everything. Give it to God. People that know me, know that I like to be in control. I like to fix things. And that's probably why I felt the way I felt yesterday, because since I like to do those things, people pull on you like they expect you to do it, right? And when you don't want to do it any longer, how do you communicate that effectively? So focus on what you can control. That means concentrate on your emotions, attitude, and your decision. All right, I'm a work in progress. So number 4, listen more than you speak. Now, this is something I master at my job with my staff, because I'll interrupt you like, hold on, no, hold on, wait a minute. No, you say one thing off. I'll be like, no, wait, before you even finish that sentence, let me check that right there. That's not true. That's not it. That's not my intentions, all of that. But I have learned from my job how to hold all that and let that person speak and get everything out before I respond. So a composed person sometimes seek understanding before being understood. I thought that was powerful. I said, what, God? What you saying to me? What? Right? So what that really means is practice active listening. Avoid interruptions. And ask for clarity. Do those clarity questions like, what you saying is this. Did you mean this? Oh, okay. Well, then let me respond to that. So that's how I deal with my staff and stuff. I'd be like, hold on. Wait, let me make sure I understand you clearly because I want you to understand my response. But I try to say it in the most nice way as possible, right? Number 5, maintain perspective. When you are in an uncontrolled situation and you're frustrated, maintain perspective. How do I do that? Well, find out first if the matter is if whatever you got going on, if the situation even matter next week, if it matters 48 hours, 28 hours from now, do it really matter? Because if it doesn't, why am I getting all upset and uptight about it? Why can't I keep my composure? Is it the person? Is it the spirit of the person? Is it the situation or their conversation? Identify what it is, right? Then what you can do is learn from the situation. Now, I intentionally try to learn from every situation because I don't want to repeat it again. Get me? You feel me? I don't want to repeat it again. So I have to learn from the situation. So I'm already done with this. I want to leave a couple takeaways with you, and I pray that you be blessed and you will utilize this video if you need to. When you feel yourself out of control, when you feel yourself having anxiety, play this video. So here's some takeaways. Develop self-awareness. That means know your triggers and emotional patterns. The next one is emotional intelligence. I took a training in that, and that is really the ability to understand and manage your emotions. That's it. Stress management, which means if you got to pray to control your stress, if you have to meditate, if you have to do some mindfulness exercises, whatever it is you need to do, manage the stress, okay, of the situation. And lastly, be confident and prepared to respond. That's it. That's all I have, y'all. So be blessed, you all. I'm going to play this video and I'm going to post it because I'm going to have to look at it many times and over again as things come up that's too much for me to bear. So I want you to be blessed. Stay tuned to the next video. And also listen, look at my YouTube channel because this is Father's Day month. And I have a special episode on Us Podcast for the fathers. You don't want to miss it. Be blessed and remember, stay in control and keep your composure. Talk to you soon.